What's up, guys? Welcome to the Sexy Business Status Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Payne. I got a guy that flew. I'm selfishly, he didn't fly over here just for me, but I'm going to act like he did. All the way from Hawaii just to be my podcast. Just kidding. My boy, Ryan Groth. Dude, welcome to the 48 state.
Yeah, man. It's great to be here. This is cool. I've been seeing the social media in your room and the training room. This is awesome, man. Great setup you have here.
Love it. Appreciate it. Yeah. And he brought smart man, right? Knocking out 10 birds with one stone, doing some business stuff, doing some play stuff. His son, Hunter.
Yep.
How old is he? 12?
He's 10.
10? Yeah.
Yep.
And so on the backside of here is a softball batting cage setup and whatnot. And I was like, dude, have your kids play a ball. We're going to get into this too. So it's super fun. So those that are watching, married kiddos, like he's got 6 kids. I got my 6 coming. We got a whole freaking football team between the two of us.
Yeah.
And they're all, how old's your oldest?
12.
12. Yeah, my oldest is 15. So yeah, we have 12 under 15.
Wow. Wow.
Between
Amazing.
the two of us. So
That's awesome, dude.
yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, he's got a 3-month-old. Mine's in the oven, 6 weeks out, and
Awesome.
super cool. So we'll get into family, we'll get into faith, we'll get into all that stuff. But yeah, I saw that you were coming down for a baseball tournament. I'm like, dude, I was like, let me see if the batting cages are open next door. And so
Amazing. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
huge. He's like getting reps in right now. This is awesome.
So, well, I was like, like my kids, right? When you go do work stuff and whatnot, it's like, hey, here's an iPad or here's something to don't go crazy for an hour while I got to hop on this call or do this video or this podcast or whatever. I was like, dude, go freaking next door, go whack some balls. So good stuff. Huge. Okay. So I want to jump into this. So you own the Sales Transformation Group.
Yeah.
What is it, and who do you cater to, and why did you start it?
Yeah, I just say we're the sales training and coaching platform for the trades. So just think if you're trying to grow your sales organization, you're struggling with like, what's the sales process? What should that be? How do I lead a team? How do I manage a team? How do I create a culture? A lot of contractors are operationally minded first. They care about great product. That's important. But they don't know the business, and I think they don't know how to run business. I mean, you're doing scaling coaching groups. You understand. You're in it so much. You're in the weeds. Where we focus on is, hey, like sales is one big important part. It's not the only thing, but you got marketing, brands, sales, operations, finance. You got to have sales figured out. You're going to hit constraint points and bottlenecks at some point, whether it's your closing rates down, you guys aren't selling value, they're selling price, and you just have a sales culture that's not great. You got a toxic person, and if you get rid of them, what's going to happen? You don't have a way to onboard, train, and coach anybody.
Right.
Like that's where we really can help the contractor or a service provider in the trades build out that system, that process, and that team the right way. And so we combine online learning, which everybody's got a course these days, right? So
Sure.
We're no different. We have coursework.
Sure.
I have a sales leader course. I have a residential for like retail in the home sale, and then a commercial sales course. And then and we have a door-to-door roofing sales course. So those are 3 different sales processes, nuances to all 3. And we have that. And then we provide a lot of on-site training and consulting and coaching. That's what makes us unique. We have coaches that are literally every week flying across the country, working in doing workshops privately at the offices with owners and sales leaders, and then we follow that up with sales team kickoffs, and then in some cases we follow that up with monthly return visits and do like ride-alongs and go like to a whole new level of reinforcement and accountability. So at the end of the day, we're just like we're helping contractors make revenue predictable and help them build their sales organizations the right way, and that's what we're all about.
Love it. How did you get into that? How do you just jump into that?
Yeah, I have a very, I'm very thankful for the journey that I've been on and the favor that I've gotten to step into. So my parents had a contracting business. I saw them struggle through the recession. They had some challenging outcomes. In Florida, yeah, South Florida specifically. So think like West Palm, Broward, Miami-Dade, down in there.
Okay.
So that's where I spent most of my young adult life. And then, was a baseball guy. So, carrying on with my son and all 4 of my sons will be playing for sure. But I did the whole thing, played college ball and played some pro ball. And I'm like, all right, when you go all in to play baseball, you don't really have a plan B. Yep. I was like, what's next? And so I was really searching, got married before I even figured that part out. And my wife and I were just like, hey, let's kind of figure this out. So I was doing different odd jobs. I worked for a concrete restoration company, actually. So think about like condos with rebar that's spalding from the saltwater air, and there's like cracks and it's like cracking. I was like working for a company, and the original intent was to be a sales guy and sell to condos. Well, they didn't have any sales training, and none of that was there. So
Nothing.
7 weeks later, they're like, yeah, you should probably like know how to do all the work. Here's $16 an hour. And they didn't know how to build that part of the business. And I'm like, dude, you got a 27-year-old, hungry, just had a baby, about to have a baby, like communicator who's ready to get after it.
Right.
And you're making me like slap mud on the ceilings. This is not working for
$20
me.
an hour.
This isn't working for me. Like I have to make money. So I had a mentor friend at our church was like, bro, why don't you get into sales, man? You're a competitor. You're a communicator. If I had met you and I'd met you with one of my other companies I would hire you in a heartbeat. So I never really heard, because when you're playing baseball and my parents didn't really have a sales or entrepreneurial background, I was like, all right, let's think about that. Like,
what does that look like?
Yeah, what's that look like? So I started looking at different opportunities, and then so he introduced me to somebody who was super influential in the community in South Florida. He's like Billy Graham's grandson. He's like on the board of every major ministry. So he knows all the Christian business owners in South Florida. And so for me, that was like a really important angle, because I wanted to work out of that relationship of trust and like alignment, and work for like somebody that I would hopefully like want to be like, you know?
Sure.
And so through that, he introduced me to a roofing contractor by the name of Greg Wallach. He's since retired. He sold to private equity last year. And he's a legend. If anybody wants to look him up, he's the OG of this game. He's the first one to ever do a national roll-up in the industry. It was called General Roofing. Anyway, his story really ties into mine, because whenever he did the national roll-up, they didn't give him enough time to integrate the companies. He went through a really difficult midlife crisis, bought Best Roofing in South Florida, was doing like $2 million and losing money at the time. I think it's a 45, 50-year-old brand now. He went and did like the new construction, service, and re-roof all at once. Got it to about 25 million, 08, 09 hits, and it just decimates the new construction. And he goes down to like 6. And he said, I'm never going to go back to new construction ever again. I'm going to focus on service only. So he focused on service. And then 2013 is when I met him. So when my first son was born, I joined him 2 weeks later. And I didn't get hired actually to be in the roofing business. I got hired to run a software product that he built for himself and sell it. So it was a really cool. This is what was really cool about my story. I got to work with him, and they were doing about 25 million at the time of 2008, when I told you it went down to 6. So think, he bought it, got it up to 25, 2008 hits, 2009 6.
Jeez.
So he's like cutting overhead,
Yeah.
and then at one point he's just like, he talked to this sales trainer. So here's the story. He talked to a local franchise of a sales training company. He called him his shrink. He was my therapist. And he goes, all right, I got good news and bad news, Greg. What do you want to hear first? He's like, well, I've heard a lot of bad news. Just what's some more? Tell me. And he goes, the bad news is you don't have any salespeople. The good news is I can help you find them and train them. So he engaged this group, and he started working on building salespeople and then teaching them roofing, teaching them the trade, right? And that all sounds very like basic, and it sounds logical, but that's not always what people do. Hire character, train skill. So he, brought his son in, who's my age. He's already built and sold a residential company, a stud. Long story short, he saw that like Salesforce was too complex back in the day.
And what year is this?
So I met him in 2013. So think like 2008 to 13, whatever this period of time of like the recession to the 13 when I met him.
Okay.
He's like reinventing himself. So he's becoming a sales org, focusing on service, leading with service in South Florida. Great market for service. A lot of buildings, and it rains a lot, right? So very great. And he started to see that when you sell service, re-roofs come, right?
Yep.
And he started investing in marketing and teams. But the software he built for himself, he used instead of like off-the-shelf software, and it was like a pipeline management tool, goal-setting tool. It tracked sales activities. So now he's got like roofing salespeople coming in, and it sounds like really amazing at the time and maybe more basic today, but like think about it. Like if I would have came in and I had a software that tracked my goals, that tracked my sales pipeline, that tracked my closing ratio, I got a sales process, I get trained by a coach, I would have went to that concrete restoration company and sold 2 million or something, made this guy a butt ton of money.
Yep.
But
yep.
he didn't know what to do. But I go into, now I'm stepping into this world where I'm hanging out with a real CEO, like a real business owner who happens to do roofing. Played University of Miami football. He's old enough to be my dad, like just such a stud, right? Like doing things right, living out a good life.
Sure.
And he mentored me and coached me through selling the software into the industry. Now, here's what was so cool about this.
To other roofers.
Now, here's what was cool about this. We originally wanted to sell through the franchise of the sales training organization. We realized that they already had some corporate stuff. It would have been a way uphill battle. So as I was like trying to figure this out, I just got hired. I got 40 grand base plus commission, 1099. Like I got a baby. I'm just trying to like, I'm like, you know what I'm saying?
The hustle is on.
Like, I'm like, it's going. So I'm like trying to figure this out. I'm like listening to the books that he told me to read. I'm like all in, right?
Yep.
Drinking from a fire. I'm 27 years old at the time. Just had a baby. And I'm like ready to go. And so I just started listening to Simon Sinek one day. He talked about this idea of the law of diffusion of innovation. And so it's this graph, and maybe if you edit it, by the way, brother, look up the law of diffusion, like diffuse, and innovation. Put this up there. So it's this cool graph
From
that
Simon
shows
Sinek.
From Simon Sinek. It can be, you could just Google it. It doesn't have to be from Simon Sinek. It's everywhere. He was just finding what some scientist or something said. So what I found was like, okay, this software I'm selling, it's technology. And if I'm looking at the first the percentage of people who adopt technology, the innovators, it's like 2.5%. 2.5% right now are all in on AI, right? The rest of the world is not.
Right.
But there's a breaking point where the early adopters, that when it gets to like 13 or 16% of the population, it becomes like everybody's doing it. Yeah. Then you have like the late adopters or the early majority, late adopters and laggards. And I'm like, okay, if I'm looking at the industry of roofing and the trades in South Florida, there's all kinds of businesses in South Florida. If I'm looking at all this, I'm like,
tech is lagging.
I'm like, for one, like if anybody is in the laggards part, my software is not ground shaking. I can't compete with Salesforce.
Yeah.
So let me go to the space and let me market to the industry who's probably not on CRM at all. Probably, let's go after Greg.
Yeah.
I'm looking at your business and I'm demoing your data every day and I'm showing the sales. I'm like, why don't I just demo to other contractors? And then if it's somebody local, you just tell me if I can or not, which I never did sell to anybody local, except a couple residential guys. And he was all commercial. So it was awesome, man. So like I started to, he goes, well, then man, we need to go to the IRE. Well, then man, we need to go. So he started, because he's a great speaker too. He started speaking at GAF Wealth Builder, Best of Success. And I was like riding his coattails. But what was happening all the while was that I realized that people who I was selling the software to, Jason, I'm giving them the tools, but as I'm checking in, they're not even like hitting their goals. They're not like, why? And I get into it, I'm like, let me think. Greg's been like, he has a new consultant in every other week. This guy's always investing in the training. What these guys aren't doing is they're not training. So I was like, wait a second. I can sell the software all day long. I don't know how to code. I'm limited with my resources. We're not getting funding. It's bootstrap.
Right.
How can I add value to get them to stick? I can train and coach. I'm an athlete. I'm a communicator. I love leading.
Accountability.
I could teach this I say it all day long. I'm using it, the process in my sales process. So that's when I became this like sales thought leader at the time. This is in 2013. And dude, I remember I had one sales guy. He now sells $35 million a year for a roofing company in West Palm, by the way. And I was like, man, I should have done that route. I'd probably made a lot more money. But what we did was we became sales people and coaches. And I remember our first time we did a combined $40K in one-time revenue and coaching services was like dude, we're like, whoa, we're like 3K, 4K a pop. Like that's like 10, 12 new deals of like services. And we were finding some success. And what I found was that validated the fact that like, okay, people are hungry for the transformation of their entire business. This software is a tool. I read the book Good to Great at the time. This is all like 10 years ago. Like I'm just
Big
downloading.
Red. Yep.
It's a great book. And what I found was that I read the part about technology of being an accelerator, not like the solution itself. Like between good and great companies are already disciplined. They're already doing the hard things, and technology accelerates the best practice, right? It doesn't
Like NOS.
So what I found was like, what I got to do is get them doing best practice. Then they'll use the software, watch what happens. So I became this like best practice software guy. I would sell people on, hey, come to Best Roofing, and I'll sit in on a sales meeting. I'm selling you the software. This is how you run a sales meeting. Like I did that for like 4 years. So I'm talking like every player,
Non-stop.
every top 100 player. Like I was relationally got in, and I just started to everyone knew me, and I knew them at like the top niche, the top down. And I mean, I think I sold a couple of hundred companies on some sort of package over a few years. So when you're bootstrapping, that's real.
Sure.
Well, love Greg, but we didn't have I was too impatient. I didn't want to wait this long to like have ownership and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like grinding.
Next thing.
He and I are awesome. I love you. He's never going to listen to this. But I just want everybody to know that like it ended great.
Sure.
Like I was like, hey, look, I don't think I'm adding value because my services is like a 1x revenue multiple. Software is 7 to 10 if we hit a number. Me being like a coach is actually slowing down the software process. It's funding it, but I don't think this is where the company should be. So I took that coaching hat out of a desire to make the company more valuable and set it down for a whole year.
Oh.
And so I staffed up trying to just sell CRM, get integrations going, like. And the guy that I had hired was more capable than me to do that. He actually owns the company now. And as the revenue started to dip, there was less cash. I had already got to a certain salary. It was like obvious that I'm a fish out of water. I'm just like a mess, bull in a china shop. And so all this cool stuff happened, and I just God type stuff, and I just like okay. My friend even said to me 6 months before, he was like, dude, I think you're going to be on your own soon. I'm like, no way. I'm all in. Right.
Right.
And he was right. Like God spoke to him. So I ended up like starting sales transformation group because I was in the business of, if you're going to be using a tool like this, we first have to transform your business and even you as a person to be better than you are so that therefore you can grow the business. And tools like this can be used properly and you can get the results you want. So I just, there's a scripture that talks about, you'll be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And I experienced a lot of transformation on personal levels and then saw that in business. And I'm just like, man, I want to see transformation around me in whatever I do. And I want to impact people both in their business, but definitely personally. If they can have better families, better identities, know who they are, they're walking in their destiny and how God called them. They're fantastic husbands and spouses or wives and fathers and mothers and servant leaders and they're taking care of their health and all those things and they're giving back and they're having success. That's what makes me feel like I'm following my calling. So STG was birthed in 2018 and before I started my own company, I called like a few of the clients. I was like, hey bro, would you guys? So I got like $25K in recurring revenue within like 2 months. My
Awesome.
wife just started. It wasn't reoccurring. It was monthly subscriptions, but it wasn't like locked in software revenue. But it was like
Sure.
people. And my wife just got her RN. It was just now starting to be a labor and delivery nurse. And now I'm at home in our 4th bedroom in Pompano Beach, and I have three kids.
There's a few kids already.
And then a gal, like this girl who's 20 years old in my house more than I see in my wife. And I'm just like, hey, I think you can always go back and be a nurse. You can always go back and be a mom. I think this is going really well, and I have a vision for this. Why don't you stay home? So she has not gone back to work since.
Retire her. Love it.
It's been, and then we popped out 3 more kids. So now we've been in business almost 8 years.
Okay.
And we've since moved to Hawaii. And I have a team and we've worked with 800 plus contractors, either on Zoom calls and courses all the way down to like really involved hands-on stuff. So yeah, that's how he got started, man. I'm not necessarily the most experienced roofer or anything, but I'm somebody who saw that like best practice and sales best practices. There was only like generalists and nobody focusing on the space and caring about the space. And I saw some stuff that was a little bit like, I just saw opportunity. Entrepreneurs see opportunity. And I said, there's nobody doing this for the trades and for roofing. Like, I feel a lot of favor for this. Like, this is something I should do.
Sure.
And so I stepped into that and haven't looked back. I mean, I've had a lot of ups and downs trying to just grow this thing. I've had so many, but yeah, like a lot. But I mean, we're fortunate and we're here, and we have high hopes for the future. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's been I haven't really actually shared that level of detail on a podcast, so that was kind of cool. So
That's awesome. That's super cool. So I have a bunch of questions.
and cut me off if I'm going too long.
No, you're good. No, you're on it. I love it. I love it. So when it comes to talk to me about you leaving what you were doing with a salary, and because most people watching, male, 20 to 35 years old, probably a business owner, right? Entrepreneur, trades, right? Blue collar, nationwide, but mostly like Arizona, Southwest, right? And they're all in this. I'm good buddies with Brandon Dawson, right?
Okay.
Cardinal Ventures, lives actually right here in Scottsdale. And he talks about how the average small business owner does less than $3 million in revenue, has less than 10 employees, and is in business for less than 3 years, and then gone. And that's 95% of the world, or at least the country. And so Nikki T, my best friend, got me a hoodie at one of our events that says, "Be the 5%."
That's cool.
What advice would you give them to not be the 95%? Be part of that's a staggering number. Not 60-40, 95-5. That's like psycho failure rate, right? Like, what advice would you give to them that are doing it? Because most of the time they're doing anywhere from the room that you saw in there was 25 guys in there 30 minutes before you walked in.
Yeah.
And anywhere from pest control to painting to stucco to flooring to HVAC to roofing to solar to all blue collar, right? And these guys are doing, and all of them are doing, except for one of them is doing, anywhere from $500,000 to $3 million max. Humbly, I just looked at my CRM this morning. We just cleared $2 million in October for the first time. First time I've ever done $2 million in a month ever.
Congratulations.
Was this month in
awesome.
October.
Wow.
And so you're talking about like some people don't even do $3 million for the entire year, let alone $2 million in a month. What advice would you give to them, knowing your background of not like being most of them were the guys doing the work. They're the ones slapping the mud or servicing the units or shingling the roofs or whatever. I came in at a managerial spot, so I didn't learn, like, I'm not a third generation roofer. Like, I know what a coil nail gun is, but that's about it. Like, I know how to put the coils in there, but I've never, like, I don't even think I've ever put a full roof on myself ever, right? At least not on purpose. What advice would you give them to get out of that bubble of the $500,000 to $3 million gap, and to push towards, my book, 8 phases to 8 figures? What advice would you give them to push past that 3?
Yeah. Great question. Thanks for that. And congrats on your $2 million a month. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Wild. Absolutely insane.
Yeah. That's awesome, dude. So what I would say is, like, first off, your money, you need to be conservative and don't spend it all, so save your money. Don't go crazy and buy a bunch of things. I think you need to just like really wait to start spending real money, like buying a house or making big significant lifestyle changes, until you have sustainable, consistent, like real revenue over a period of time.
Sure.
Because I did that. That's probably my biggest mistake, because I went a little bit too hard, too fast on like lifestyle change. And I feel that, right? There's things you get stuck.
Sure.
So you don't want to be in a lot of debt or any debt. So definitely there's people who have opinions on that, but you're probably not a skilled manager of finances. So keep it simple, stupid. Don't spend your money, live it below your means, and that'll really keep the pressure off. However, when you learn how to sell and you learn how to lead, my gosh, it changes everything. It's like you're wielding a weapon that makes you like having a lightsaber. It's like vroom, vroom, I can defend, I can beat any stormtrooper that comes my way when you know how to sell. And you may not be a very gifted natural salesperson, but here's the good news: you can learn how to sell, because sales is a system. It's a process. It's not based purely on, there's some amazingly gifted and talented natural salespeople, that's for sure. But if that's not you and you can learn how to sell, I'll say this: if you want to scale faster, hire a sales training group, get a sales process you believe in, and start hiring salespeople and like send them off to go sell, and you lead them. That would be fat. But some of you guys are like a little scared to do that. So what I would say is learn how to sell yourself and optimize your time where you're not spending your time on non-sales revenue generating activities. For example, if you're ordering material, like, dude, you can hire somebody to do that, right? But if you as an owner,
$1,000 a week to do that.
I mean, you as an owner, just because you're the owner, even if you show up late and you're disheveled, you're going to close more than maybe an average salesperson that you're competing with because you're the owner.
Let me ask you this question, because you mentioned just now, just your gut, statistically, percentage-wise, how much of it is like God-gifted talent versus just role play, repetition, and a developed skill when it comes to sales versus just like they got it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're going to have...
You worked with hundreds of companies and thousands of
I think you're going to have
reps.
5 to 7% are going to have 6-7%. Do you kids ever say that crap?
Oh, dude, it's the dumbest thing in the world. Yeah.
So stupid. My gosh.
So dumb. Yeah.
So there's going to be a percentage who have a full figured out factor, who are very gifted. Those are the ones that end up starting their own company.
Yeah, they leave.
So lead. They're like, I can do this. I mean, that's what I did.
It's that it factor.
Yeah, they're like, I can figure this out.
Yeah.
When they were like, oh, I get this, right? So what I would say is, you can take C players, make them B players. You can make B players, make them B plus players, A minus players, but you have to have the leadership vision and you have to have the leadership skill to attract and contain those types of people, right? Like, I think about, so where I'm going with this is you have to level up your leadership in order to keep those really high performing people. So to go back to, I'll just make my point. If you're scared to build that team up and trust the sales system and the process, and they have to be able to self-generate their own leads if you're going to just hire a bunch of salespeople. If you don't have the ability to, like California, can't door knock very well. You're going to get ousted fast. It's just harder over there. If you don't have leads coming in, you don't have like referrals coming in, you can't run ads and get leads. You can't then don't hire 15 salespeople. Hire 1, 2, 3, do that.
Sure.
So my point being is, if that's even scary to you, optimize your time and buy back your time, like Dan Martell says, so you can focus on revenue generating activities. Then you use a system. I could tell you that sales, if you are an unexperienced salesperson, not naturally gifted, and you have a sales system that you're committed to doing, like it requires just work ethic and things that talent, does not require any talent, right? Showing up, being disciplined, you can be a very high performing salesperson, and even be an introvert and be a very high performing salesperson.
Yep.
You can, because sales is systematic. You can learn it. I mean, have you ever seen? It's like marketing. Marketing is the same. You can learn marketing. Have you seen some marketers out there? They don't appear to have natural God-given ability, but they're obviously doing something right.
Like Mr. Beast, I'm like, dude, he looks like a dorky nerd.
Yeah,
He's a
look at that
freaking
guy.
Genius.
Yeah, and he's put the work in. That guy puts everything back into it. He's just committed, right? So I think that 95% of it is you can work hard at it and you can learn it. Yeah. And I believe that. I mean, I'm a sales training company. That's what we have. So like, we believe we can train. However, the person you become in that training, you transform. You have to get rid of the limiting beliefs that are sabotaging you, that are literally self-limiting beliefs. You are going to be in the pressure cooker. Sales, especially performance-based sales, and it's entrepreneurial. It's the closest thing to being the owner, because all bets are off. You got to bet on you.
They call you like an entrepreneur, right? Like you have your own little business with inside of a business.
Yeah. Thankfully, you don't have to deal with all the other liabilities and all these other things. But I think that you better believe that you can learn it, because if you believe that it's only for those people, you're already lost, right? So you have to believe that you can learn it, and you can. And there's a lot of different systems out there. We like to teach a milestone-centric sales process. So everything goes back to the sales process. And if you know the sales process, you can control the sales environment. You can control the meeting. You can control the agenda. If you don't have a sales process, you'll default to the prospects, and depending on your buyer, they're going to drag you into how they like to buy. If you're selling to CEOs, like if I'm selling to you, more of a type A guy, more of you have ideas, you're going to try to control the conversation. If I'm not a strong salesperson with a process that I'm navigating, you're going to sniff that out and just like either not buy from me, or you're going to tell me what you want and get me to do it for cheap.
Bingo.
Right? That's how people buy, right? If you're selling to Mrs. Grandma, it's a little different type of sale, but you have to have a sales process, or else you're going to default to theirs. You can navigate the waters, read the room, wherever you are.
Own the conversation.
But you have to know what you're like. If you're saying I'm driving, you have to know where you're going. If you're in a car with an Uber driver and they don't know where they're going, you're going to get real uncomfortable. and that's how it is when you're selling. Is like, hey, I'm taking the reins here. I got this. You trust me? I'm an expert. And then you have to know what you're doing. And the good news is it's not rocket science. You just have to be disciplined and like use self-control and trust it. Because when you start veering, that's when things get wonky and you don't have consistent sales. You can't explain why sales are inconsistent. And it's all the time.
Roller coaster. Right? So let me ask you this. You mentioned something that really powerful that I believe that most people don't want to look at, because a lot of times when our sales are down or we're struggling or whatever, we point fingers. Even as business owners, we point, this sales rep sucks. He's not committed. He's lazy. He's negative. He's whatever. And I think it's so much less of that and so much more as the business owner, maybe the sales manager or the whatever that role is as a leader. We expect all of our team members to level up, but we don't expect or make ourselves level up to be that next version of ourselves. And so why is that so important? You mentioned that like 2 or 3 times.
Patrick Bet-David had some, I don't listen as much content as I should. Honestly, I'm doing a lot of the things and I'm like in it. So
sure.
I listen to some, and I remember he talked about how everybody can get fired. He's like, I can get fired. He was talking about as the owner of Valuetainment or whatever insurance company that he has.
Yeah.
He's like, I can get everybody to just stop believing in me. I could do, if I show up late and if I'm sleeping on my wife or I'm doing coke, like, do you think that people can fire me in terms of them trusting me to lead them in their career? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. So like I'm seeing like, dude, you lost body fat. You look better. Like
15% body fat in 10 months.
You look great, dude. You're doing great.
Thank you.
I'm sure the person you are is different than before. You're more disciplined, more clear-headed, willing to make sacrifices, get out of your comfort zone. Things that are important. Like, I'm in Phoenix, so Tommy Mello's around here. That guy's changed a lot. Yep. He was
the one that actually, I went to his Freedom event, not the one in Vegas recently, but the one last year in San Diego. I know Tommy. I did his house. I did his roof.
Oh, did you?
I did his commercial building.
Nice.
I worked on his personal house. He's on my podcast, my stage.
Yeah.
Tommy and I are super tight.
Shout out to Tommy.
I was just texting him my picture of my transformation. I was like, dude, like you and Bree, like totally. Anyways, and so his tea and testosterone and peptide guy, whatever supplement guy, is
Dr.
actually
J.
my guy. Dr. J.
Yeah, I work with them too.
Do you?
Yeah. Obviously.
He's 7 minutes down the road.
Is he?
Yes, you could walk to his office.
I should go say what's up.
Yeah, Power
I need to do my my labs for this year. I'm behind.
I'm up. Yeah. So, but the point being, going with that is, as a leader, you need to level up first.
But bro, it's not just your physical though. Remember, right?
Bro,
what people are paying the most attention to is the other stuff. How do you handle your emotions in stressful times?
Emotional maturity.
So huge. Sure. I mean, how many children are running companies when things go bad? They freak out. They drop every F-bomb under the sun. I'm not bashing cussing. I do it occasionally, and I'm a very professing Christian because I'm competitive and I still let it slip. But like, dude, that doesn't resonate with your employees when you're constantly like, all the time, right?
Sure.
Blaming. Do you blame results on others, or you take ownership? Man, I could tell you like that's a big one for me. How you lead your life. I could tell you like, be careful how much money you're flashing and showing. Like, yeah, they want to know that you're having success, but like there's a way to do it that's like really hits the nail on the head, right? Where it's like not too much, not too much. And then like look at what's the look on your spouse's face? Are they depressed? They sad? Look at their kids. Are your kids unruly? Are they respectful? Do they shake a hand, look in the eye? Like I tell you, people are looking for hope. They want hope. And I think the entrepreneur, the business owner is God's way of bringing, you got priests in the church and kings in the marketplace. And I think that, we're called to be both. And I think that, kings of, it's a weird word to use in modern days, but like, I think a modern day king is a business owner who's super entrusted with people and they are stewarding it well. And they're worthy of that. Like they're who they are is like, you are the guy for that. Like thank you for being who you are, because without you, I wouldn't be. That's how it should be versus I worked with this freaking douchebag who spends all his money. He's doing whatever. He's got hookers. I mean, come on, we're so far from that. But like, let's look at the top contractors in the game who are really doing it. Like,
they're miserable. They're addicted to coke. They're on their 9th marriage. Like it's a real thing. I just so compliment to your son Hunter, who we just sent next door to go play baseball. He said thank you. At least I heard 3 times thanking me for taking him next door. You didn't push that. You didn't prompt it. It was just on his own. I'm like, that kid's being raised right. So kudos to you on that. Number 1.
Thanks, bro.
Number 2. Part of my skill mastermind that I love and I'm very passionate about. I really don't do it for the money. Obviously, time is money, so there's a dollar amount attached to it, and I want people that are committed. But my biggest thing is like there's most people online, and you're probably friends with them. You probably have their phone numbers. You've been on their stage or talked to them or podcast. But a lot of these guys, they only focus on money and growing and scaling their businesses. They don't focus on being a better spouse or being a better parent. I'm like, there's 3 parts. So you have yourself, your spouse, being a spouse, and being a parent, and then a business owner, right? But you have yourself, like your relationship with God, you and your spouse, you and your kids, right? But like being a parent and then being a business owner in that order. And I feel like most people just talk about the 4th thing. They don't like, you can be fat and overweight and be addicted to coke and all that stuff. But as long as you're making money, I'm like, dude, that's not okay, right? Your spouse. I just found out one of a casual buddy that I know freaking just down the street, he's in pest control, just freaking cheated on his wife. I'm like, dude, I was like, you're out.
It's heartbreaking.
You're done. I'm like, dude, I was like, it's hard to role model, to follow people in their footsteps when they're making those kind of choices. And so that's why, like, in my opinion, it is hard being a business owner because you're always under a freaking microscope. You are everything you do.
Yeah.
And then your kids and then your business. But like, it's not just about the business part. It's like, like I said, are you not necessarily a Christian, but like, are you somebody that just, are you a servant? Are you humble? Are you trying to help people? Or is it like every conversation you're trying to squeeze a buck out of somebody?
No, man. And I think that can I get a little bit more like spiritual?
Sure.
Because I feel like a little bit of opening to just go there.
Yeah.
This is coming from my heart. This is the stuff I have conversations with my wife and my friends about. And some of the things I've journeyed is like, there's a few things, like there's something called idolatry. And idolatry is when you worship something that's not God. It'd be like an idol. Well, we don't have like necessarily golden calves that people worship per se in America, but we have idols that people bow their knee to, like before they bow their knee to God, right? Yep. And I think a lot of that is like is money and greed, and then fear. What I call fear of man or people, like in pleasing people. So there's a scripture that talks about this. It says there's the lust of the eye, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. And those 3 things, I think where I'm going to go with this is, and this is a subtle, like, to those listening, is like the stage is addictive. The thought of being seen and known by people, by man, is addictive. The thought of saying, look how big my business is very tempting, because it touches on the pride of life, and it's the lust. And then there's the lust of the eyes, which is, what you have, I want. So can we say, man, I love your setup, and you're like, man, I really like Jason's setup, or is it like, I have to have that too. I'm going to go do something like get into debt or put this on that.
I'm not as good as Jason because I don't have it.
I don't have it. So I need to compare myself to him and how God views me. And no, I don't care about how God views me. I care about if I'm perceived the way that I perceive this, but perceive Jason. So I got to compete, right? to me, that's where the enemy sucks us in. So I think that there's a lot of idolatry and there's a lot of things that are worldly that are tempting. And what I'm trying to say ultimately to build up to this and to your point earlier is there's the gurus, but there's also the local business owners who who lust after or greedy, or they're lusting after recognition and being viewed above others. That satisfies an insecurity that they don't realize the enemy's got them, and then they're at the expense of others doing everything to get there.
Oh,
and I think that's the key.
it's exhausting, by the way.
At the expense of others, at the expense of this teammate or whatever, and it's like the enemy's like, yes, I'm doing it. Like, go, buddy, go, speed racer, you're doing great, keep going. No, it's not quite good enough. Look at what he did. And it's like. It's just it's ugly, right? And so I think that growth and multiplication is godly. I think that it is truly our call, and I want that. But to what end, right? I think it's to be generous, to be able to help others and serve, and to truly lay down your life for others. And that's what I think that Christ did. He played the ultimate sacrifice. He died so that we may live. But for us, if we really want to live, we need to die too. So what do we need to die to? Our ego, how other people view us. Mm-hmm. Man, when those start to die, you feel like closer to God. You feel like more who you're supposed to be because you're not caught up in the junk. And so I think that there's a lot that a temptation, where I'm going with this, there's a lot of temptation that owners of businesses are going to be tempted with. And I think social media in the last decade is more and more prominent, so there's more pressures and temptations we didn't have before. But I think that to truly go to heaven one day, and then Jesus is like, well done, my good and faithful servant, that's the goal. Not did you have your name on the top 100, not were you viewed best or whatever, or not that you were on a stage. Nobody cares, Yeah.
I remember the two most prominent names that come to my mind when you said those was Charlie Kirk and Tim Tebow.
Come on, bro. These guys are heroes.
Right?
Modern day, amazing guys.
Yeah. And it's like, and I actually got to eat dinner with Tim. He spoke at one of the events that I spoke at, and so we got to sit like intimate for like an hour.
Oh, that's great.
Dude.
Never met him yet.
Oh my gosh. Super cool. Just like most down to earth.
Yeah. Like saving sex trafficked kids in other countries.
Well, people don't see, they just see him on like all the footballs,
he's giving.
Dude, he puts more time, money, and energy into that kind of stuff than he does, anything sports related. But it's powerful how, like you said, to not lose sight of the important things in life.
Dude, like, are you successful if you and I have with our 6 kids, we're crushing business, we're shredded, we look amazing, and we're bro-dapping the coolest people and all this bullcrap. And our kids and our wife are miserable, or they split up, or now we're paying child support. I mean, come on, dude. No. Guys, there's more of you than you like to admit that are struggling with your marriage. There's more than you like to admit that your kids, you lost their heart. Dude, it's not it. That's what matters more than anything.
Yeah, that's real. That's the real flex. They literally say on social media, just the real flex is like, dude, if you go home and your wife comes and embraces you and gives you a hug and a kiss, and your kids come and wrap their arms around your leg, and they want to go play ball or go read a book or do something with you, and like if there's money in the bank, cool. If there's a lot or a little, like that's not relevant, but like that's the real flex, because it's, and now more than ever, I'm like, you just see on social media, friends and whatnot. I'm like, dude, you lost, like, dude, and especially in the blue collar game, like I said, start from the top down, right? Your relationship with God, like the physical part of you, like blue collar guys, the first thing we do is we start eating crap, we start drinking crap, we start doing drugs, we start doing, and we put on 50 pounds, 100 pounds. I'm going to say this out loud. You go to the QXO trips, you go to the ABC trips, the RWC trips, all that stuff, right? And I've been on all those multiple times. And you go there, I call it Seal Beach. You go to Seal Beach, and it's just a bunch of, but dude, it's a bunch of men, and their wives are either like mega fit or they're 250, just like their husbands are. And I'm like, but they have commas and zeros in their bank account, right? But they're also doing dumb crap, either behind the scenes or just publicly. Some of them just don't even care anymore. But I'm like, dude, I was like, that's not a flex, and that's not true success. But you can have both. I also get pissed when people, maybe they're on the more spiritual side. They're like, as long as my wife loves me and my kids loves me, then I'm okay if I make 60 grand a year and I'm paycheck to paycheck and I'm broke. And I'm like, that's also not okay. Like there's an abundance mindset. Yeah. You can have both though, Ryan. You can. You're seeing it. You're trying to do it.
I'm
trying
not
to
saying
do it.
I'm crushing it, but I'm trying. Yeah.
I'm trying to do it. But there's this thing of like, you can either like have a ripped body, or you can be a good dad, or you can, you can be a great business owner, but you can't have a great marriage, or what, dude, that's absolute bullcrap. You can have both. You have to be very intentional and very disciplined with what you're doing, but you can have both.
Yeah, I agree.
And still be aligned with God and where you want to go and how you want to get there. But you can have both. You can be a great dad, right? So you brought your kiddo, you're doing friggin' baseball stuff, you're doing work stuff. You can do both, right? And you have 6 kids and you're married and you have a successful business. You can do both. I feel like a lot of people don't give themselves permission.
And I'm shredded.
Yeah. Dude, he's being friggin' humble right now. He takes that off. He's got a 6-pack here.
It's not too bad. It's a little, a little
he's getting
off,
close there. The Hawaii, I don't know what food you got over there, but but no, that's so to wrap this up, Ryan, let me ask you this. So what advice, rolling with this, the spiritual and the family part.
Sure.
It's something that most people don't join my skill program or get in my ecosystem for the business side. They do. They're like, Jason, I've done, 10 million, 4 to 6 years that I've owned my roofing company. Yay, wonderful, cool. But they're like, but I see the way your wife looks at you.
Nice.
And your kids.
Come on.
And all those things. What advice would you give them if they're struggling? Because I tell people I go to therapy every single 10 to 11 a.m. Monday. You will never get me. I can count on one hand in 2 years how many sessions I've missed.
That's awesome, dude.
And I brag about it because
that's great,
bro. You got to work on it, man. It's like going to the gym. How often do you go to the gym for your marriage? Right? Some of you guys don't even have a gym membership, let alone do you go, let alone do you go often. What advice, being married, how long have you been married? 15 years?
14.
14? 6 kids?
Yeah.
What advice would you give those listening that are maybe on the fence, not necessarily getting divorced, but they're on the struggle bus, right? I said we don't got a lot of time, but what just quick, even
yeah, I mean, thank you. Ephesians 5 is the best chapter for marriage, okay? And it talks about husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her, okay? It talks about loving and then your wives respect your husbands, but it comes in order of husbands love your wives and wives respect your husbands. So it's like it's a one-way love is the way I look at it. Like if Christ loves the church, he gave himself up. He loved the church first. He didn't wait for the church to love him before he decided to love the church. So you as a husband, you need to love your wife first and give yourself up for her. When you lay down your life, she will be, I'm talking to men here, she will be very attracted to you when you lay down your life. So my wife is not a physical touch person. There's the 5 love languages, right?
Yep.
She's not physical touch. She's all about quality time and service, acts of service. So when you're a business owner and you're trying to make things happen and be a good dad, you don't have a lot of time, right? Yeah. So when you lay down your life, the things that your preferences, to lay that down and to give her that time. For me, she glows over time, and that's not like a permanent glow. It's like you have to continuously do that, right?
It fades, and
then when I serve her with acts of service. So like, whenever I do something, which I need to do more of, she knows it. Then she feels like, okay, he's being inconvenienced for me. That's good. That means she feels loved.
I like that.
That's good. She gets. So we could do a whole nother podcast, but anyway, I was about to get too deep here. Anyway, I wanted to go somewhere else, but that's not for this. You're good. Not appropriate. So where I'm going with this, man, is like your wife is your ezer, and then if you look up the word ezer in the Hebrew, it's like it's a biblical word used 16 times in the Bible when it comes to being a helper. And it's not a helper just to like help me, not a supporter of whatever it's your show and she's supporting you. You know what it is? It is like a warrior it's a military term. So you guys know the Avengers, right? And you see like female Avengers, like, dude, that's your wife.
Yeah.
She is a gangster. Okay. She is not supporting you. She is your battle mate.
She's not a cheerleader on the sidelines either.
Dude, she is a beast. Your wife has untapped potential. Your wife will only blossom under your love. It only blossom under your care and your courage and your laying down of your life for her. Because I'm telling you, your wife is not supporting you, right? Well, you're not loving her, bro.
Yeah.
If you love her, she will become an entirely different partner in crime where now you're locked arms. Because first off, you have to do that. Secondly, the Bible talks about being a 3-stranded cord. Ephesians 5 doesn't talk about that specifically, but what it does talk about is submit unto one another, unto the Lord. Okay, so what does that look like? That would look like you and your wife on your face to God together. And then you both are submitted to the Lord together. You're the head of the household, but you are together united unto the Lord, right? So in the body, he's the head, we're parts of the body. In our family, he is the head, but you in the home are the priest and the king. You're the leader of the home, so that you have to show that you are following God by truly praying and receiving from God, and you do that with your wife. It's ultimately your decision. You have, there's things that you have to do and decide on.
Sure.
But my biggest advice, second piece of advice, would be to submit with your spouse in prayer and submit to God. Submit His will. When you start praying like, God, hey, do what you want to do in my heart, and your wife's hearing that, and then He's speaking, and then you're changing, like, what is that doing for your family? Beautiful things, bro. When you're not praying and you're like, this is what we're doing, could it be great? I'm sure it could be great. But like, it's different when your spouse is like with you in prayer, following the way of the Lord, and how you hear His voice together through His word and through prayer together. And then your kids are being in an environment where now you as mom and dad love and are affectionate with one another unto the Lord, bro. Like, and you have a 3-stranded cord that's not easily broken, because 2-stranded is easily broken. Well, who's trying to break it? Who's trying to break it? The devil, dude. The devil hates family. I mean, we talked about Charlie Kirk earlier.
Now more than ever.
His whole mission was going to be to restore family in America. He wanted to literally try to demonstrate with his wife and show the world what a godly marriage looks like, which he did a great job while he was here.
Killed it. Yep.
And he was going to try to equip. He got more alive speaking to a young man about how to go about his life. And what did he say, man? Go figure out how to make some money. Go get out of your comfort zone. Go find a beautiful wife. Love your wife. Like, this is where it's all
Go
about.
have as many babies as possible, he says.
That's it, man. Yeah. And so, like, who you become is fantastic. Dude, you being Peter Pan and being 42 and having slept with all these beautiful girls around the country, and you have a nice, cool loft in downtown, does not mean you're successful, dude. No. You're not cool. It's like, it's over. Like, it's not fun. It's a child. That's like being a boy. And I think that who you have to become to lay down your life and yourself to love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave Himself for her, you will go through many changes, and it will be very different. You will not be a boy anymore. You will have gone through so much. But to walk with a limp, to walk with some humility, to be broken, to be a stallion young buck who's now broken and hears God and follows Him and is trustworthy, that is who I'm trying to become. And it's not easy. I'm 39. I'm still young. But like, man, have I been busted up, broken, had to change to love my wife. And that's that person I become. I look in the mirror and I'm grateful. My kids, and I still mess up. I still mess up. But you need to learn to lay down your life. What does that mean? That may mean put down pickleball for a year while this newborn is growing. So your wife isn't resentful toward you because you're never around to help.
Yep.
Do that for a year, man. It's not forever.
It's for a season, I call it.
Season. It's great. Yeah,
Yes.
dude. It's for a chapter. Like, hey, maybe you're not gonna like be super jacked at like your first 2 years of marriage because you got to figure out marriage. You'll get there. You're gonna get to a point where you're gonna take care of your health, but don't obsess about yourself. I remember my wife resented the fact that I went to the gym. Why? Because I wasn't prioritizing her. Doesn't mean she doesn't want me to be fit. She actually, right here, she put this as my wallpaper because she thought this is the best picture of me because she thought I was looking good. I thought that was cool.
Sure.
I didn't put that there. She did. She likes that I'm in shape, but not at her expense.
Yes.
When she's number 2, that's not going to work. So you have to learn to lay down your life. Does it mean she runs a household? No. Don't talk like, let me get my wife's permission. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is you need to be the one that she looks at and says, I'm his number one. Nobody gets priority except me.
Bingo.
And whenever she looks at you and knows that, she'll do anything for you. She'll be your partner in crime, your easer. She'll go to battle with you and destroy the devil with you.
Dude, that took me, I'm married 13 years, going on 13 years. And that took me like almost 7 years to find out.
Sooner than I did, bro. Good job.
That's serious. It took me 7
good.
just to like see it, because a lot of times, especially with like parents and like separating, like I call it divorcing your parents, and like having a business partner, a vice, a hobby. It doesn't have to be like another woman, like not even that extremism, just like a hobby, a vice, your guy friends group thing, right? Those type of things, when like, dude, no one and nothing goes above me and my wife.
Yeah.
And be able to say that and mean it, and your wife being able to say, yes, he's being true, and yes, he's being sincere, and yes, he's being not lying about it. We say that, but then like, but if I were to call your wife right now and ask her 1 to 10, is that true? 1, 3, 4, 1, not like 10 out of 10. Right? Like and dude, like I would say, and I stole it from somebody, I forgot who it was, so I can't give him credit, but like your spouse is your superpower.
Yeah.
Your wife is you mentioned the Avengers, right? Dude, like a woman, I feel like, and her spouse,
back, bro.
well, and you got to bring them off the sidelines and put down the pom-poms and give her a freaking sword. But like, that has to be given. I feel like it's always earned. I feel like us dudes were the dorks, not the women, 98% of the time. But like, we have to give them that sword and give them that authority to go to battle with us, right? Not the best movie, but a great analogy is the movie 300, right? When Leonidas leaves and his wife's a freaking G, right? She's not this like, and it's not like stay-at-home mom. My wife is I gladly and proudly retired my wife. She worked at In-N-Out for 22 years.
No way, bro.
Still does. Yeah. Just for fun, just keep her sanity with, 6 kids.
That's sick.
So she does it once in a while, and she's a G, but she wants to be a stay-at-home mom. But like, there's stay-at-home moms that are, I want to say not the best, but like, don't take that role as serious as they can or they should. And then there's other ones that like, they have a sword, they have a shield, and that house is protected. My mom literally brought that up the last 6 months. She's like, she called it a fortress. You guys have this like fortress around your house.
Sacred.
Yeah, and I'm like, you're damn straight. And we worked our asses off for that, by the way. Like that was intentional. And my wife has built that barrier, including to my parents, who I love. But like, there is a barrier there. There is a fortress around my house that we control exactly who has the garage door code for, to come in and to come out of that house.
It's good.
And it's, but like, you have to work on it, man. Your kid's next door getting hacks in. Why? Because he wants to be good at baseball. Why? Because he wants to, to do something and be fulfilled and enjoy it. But like, he's got to put in the reps. You can't do it for him. Just like marriage, just like work, just like sales. You have these sales guys like, how come this guy, you'll meet him after this. They're literally on the other side of this wall. My whole sales team's here. We have a sales meeting 5 minutes ago.
Nice.
And one of my sales rep literally is going to either did or is going to today clear $400,000 in revenue retail this month.
Come on, bro.
Right?
Let's go.
I have 2 other ones that cleared $300,000 this month.
Come on.
I have 2 other ones that are either one did 200, one's going to do 200. And it's like, most of them didn't come from roofing and none of them came from sales. But like you said, you got to give them the tools in order to be successful. You got to give yourself and your spouse and your home the tools to be successful, and your kids the like. I just sent a picture just the other day on all my stories, my kids, we're walking around the school and there's little speed humps, little yellow ones, right? And at every speed hump, I'd stop and do 10 push-ups with my weighted vest. We'd go to Circle K, little Slurpee, little treat or whatever, and we walk back on Sundays. And I would stop at each of those and do 10 push-ups with my vest. My sister comes with me. She wears her vest too. And on their own, without me even doing it, all three of my kids, 3 out of the 4 of them that were there, 3 of them literally stopped on their own and started doing 10 push-ups.
That's awesome.
On the speed hump. Dude, I'm telling you, like, caught over taught. I learned it from Sean Whalen. Like, caught over taught for anything, from prayer to scripture to relationship with God to going to the gym. I can tell you, I mean, there's people that they never seen their parents go to the gym ever.
Yeah.
In their entire 20, 30 years.
It's huge.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, like, be the example. Start at the top. I love that. So, Ryan, man, appreciate you being on. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Flying all the way to Hawaii just to be on the podcast. Just kidding.
Just to be here.
He did. I appreciate you making the time to stop by and shed some light to the blue collar space, men in general. Like,
yeah,
it's time for men to be freaking men. Like, what a man
the world
was in the
needs
90s.
Us. The world needs us, man. The industry needs us. Your communities need you. I mean, what if you're the guy, and I know we got to go, but what if you're the guy that's like, when they think of benevolence, generosity, leadership, what if you're the guy that they're like, I want my son or daughter to work for them? Yep. Like, what if they're the one that like, hey, they gave, or hey, like, when I think about what giving back looks like, I think of this person. Like, and it's not just money, it's your time, right? It's your facility, it's all these different things. But the industry needs us, man. And like, don't let like the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life derail you from who God's called you to be, because you have a unique fingerprint, man. You and I do not have the same fingerprint. You can't do a carbon copy. It's got to be, you're made uniquely for this time, such a time as this, for the people who matter most. And it's first going to be your wife and your kids. And that home, that sacred fortress, is a household that is either going to smell in a way where God is like, that's an aroma that's pleasing to me. Or he's going to be like, I'm not saying he's rejecting your home, but I'm just saying he's like, there's presences in there. You know, you walk into a home and you feel like, this feels so good in here. That's the environment you're cultivating. It starts with you and your wife, and praying and submitting to the Lord, and creating a space that the children, it's so beautiful, man. Because like, and the money, like, I've had highs and lows, but what true riches are is knowing him, loving your family. And, but there's a way to have it all, quote unquote. But I don't think you have it all at the same time in a steady percentage increase. I think it's this is going down, this is going up, and you just kind of keep seeing the long picture, and you just keep the course. And so yeah, anyway, I appreciate you having me on, brother. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Groth, Sales Transformation Group. Ryan, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you? Yeah, so you could just email me, rgroth@salestransformationgroup.com. Go to our website, hit us up. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, so you can hit me up. I check DMs on those. Glad to connect. We have teammates as well that you can speak with if you're interested in our help. I'm more passionate sometimes about this stuff than even sales. Sales is a vehicle unto this ultimately, right? And but I think you can start now and take the right steps. So yeah, cool. Alrighty, like, comment, share. Appreciate you all, and we'll see you on the next one. Adios.